Okay. Hi guys, it is 12:03 p.m. on Wednesday, the 189th day I'm doing this. Here's your daily dose of hope. And so many things I want to say. But I will say that I'm really starting to see how you've got like my motivation, my determination, right? Like that's always been there. So why have certain things happened? Well, I truly believe that now I truly believe that the ADHD, so the blessing and the curse is that you don't remember things. Like it's not linear is the best way I can describe it. So the bottom line is, and also CPTSD, and I know that, but I'm just saying the bottom line is I was not aware of what I was putting up with, and I was not aware that I didn't have to put up with it. And I have found this because I've joined a lot of things and I just keep exploring because that's what I like to do. That the obvious is not always obvious. So, this is my point is that if you're struggling at all, like on any level, the journaling is the way to go. I would recommend the journaling that I talked about on one of these videos because here's the facts that if I had not been keeping track, and I mean like borderline obsessive, but really just it takes that much to wrangle my, not just my brain, but there's other stuff going on, Kids are extremely distracting, in just life. If I had not been keeping track of this stuff, I would not know these numbers. But here's just facts, right? Because that's what I always end up thinking, like, is it working or what are the facts? The facts are that today is the 40th day, 40, of my journaling streak after truly not being able to journal for decades. That's a fact. The fact is, I assume at some point I had said on here that I'm going to my car, and that was my first streak. I don't remember if I said it, like I said, because ADHD. But the facts are today is I just got back from being in the car, and today is, I believe, it's either 94 or 95. But if you just asked me, like on the spot, I'd be like, maybe a month, because I just don't naturally have references for time. Not only time in real time, like within a day, but also segments of time. I don't operate that way. So, but that's why I'm keeping track now. Meditations, that's part of my morning routine now. And I think today's either, the last time I actually wrote it down, even though I am journaling every day, but again, ADHD. Anyway, at least 13, 14 days in a row. I'm doing Qigong now on my patio. Today was, I believe, day 18th in a row, I created the after dinner routine, which I don't know if I said today, or last night would have been the 30th day of that. TV off by 9, just these different things. And last night was the 4th night of my newest streak, which is this, not just bedtime routine, but this like bedtime, like, I was going to say lockdown. I don't mean it like that, but anyway, sleep is paramount to everything, and you'll hear that everywhere. But I really am grateful and proud of myself because I kept chipping at it until I think I found a routine that is sustainable, like something my system is okay with, if that makes sense, so it doesn't feel like a punishment. And yeah, the facts are that last night was the fourth night in a row that I call it deploying airplane mode, because the whole goal is to have my phone on airplane mode and to be in bed without earbuds every night by 10 p.m. And it's just exciting for me because it's not that I was doing horrible before, but I did not see any connections. I did not see how, for example, the sleep. I had gotten into the routine, and I couldn't tell you when it started or how often I'd done it. I couldn't tell you that, but the facts are I had gotten in this habit of going to bed with my phone, typically with earbuds in, and then waking up at like 1 and 2 in the morning, usually startled and like disoriented, right? And then I'm wrecked the next day anyway. And that just spirals everything. Even if externally I'm handling everything, I am suffering. And I'm like, I don't understand why I'm suffering. And after 2 or 3 days of that, then I would pass out. Remember when I was passing out? I would pass out at 8 p.m., whether I liked it or not, and sleep like a rock. And by morning be like, oh, I slept great, and repeat the process, right? Like I was literally exhausting myself, but I did not know because I'm so in the moment. Like that's how my brain is. And now it's like, oh, it's better actually if I do my thing. I call it my regime almost, because I have to be very intentional or it's not going to happen. But I want it to happen. It's good for me. 10 p.m., if at all possible, every night. So I can't control if I wake up at 3 a.m. necessarily. I can't control if my daughter gets up in the middle of the night, right? There's so many things we can't control. But I see now, I'm starting to see how it's almost like, I don't know, pieces of a pie or just all these pieces. And here's your goal, and then here's these pieces that can affect the goal. And seeing how you want to keep your eye on the prize. Like this is the goal. So you may have to maneuver around some pieces to still get to the goal. But just because one of the pieces is acting up or, missing or something doesn't mean you can't have the goal. Listen, I don't know if that makes any sense, but the bottom line is it's working. And, I even thought, do I need to do all of this? Do you know what? If the bottom line is these are my goals, then I am going to do what it takes. And for me, it's helping me see what are the things that if they were adjusted or removed would make it easier to reach that goal. And one of those things is 100% the journaling. Because, I look back and I'm like, I don't even remember writing that, but I did. And I really think that when you have the right tools and you use them, you can do these things. And you can do them sustainably. And what I mean by that is it's now your new normal. Rather than if the stars align, I guess I get to do that. So example is this morning. That's why I'm distracted even right now. Then the bottom line is my daughter left a mess on the table. And the facts are that it distracted, it made it harder for me to make breakfast this morning, for myself. Much harder. So the bottom line is, what did I learn from that, and what can I do about it? And this summer, I'm going to really do what's in my power to visually simplify. Because here's what happens. And maybe typical brains do this naturally, good for them, right? But when you journal, you start to see, like, I was going to do, let's say, whatever it is, take a shower, like something quote unquote small, but like some measurable thing that maybe other people get to take for granted, right? I was going to take a shower. And then you're able to see that's part of my morning routine. And if you don't end up taking the shower, or you're struggling to take the shower, you can start to be like, wait a minute. I was going to take a shower. What is standing in my way? And I believe that people that don't struggle with those kind of things, they get to just, right? Like, well, obviously you just take a shower. But I'm for the people where you are, it's like you've got a spoon and you are trying to create a better life. You're trying to create these habits. And from enough kind of struggle that the solution is not to not create the habit. Like, the solution is not to keep hurting yourself, right? But you're not sure why it's so dang hard. So anyway, the bottom line is, what I learned from the breakfast thing was that I want to come up with some recipes for myself that don't require cooking for breakfast. Because what I'm doing is forcing myself to use hot tools, like to really have to concentrate and really be careful, unless I want to burn myself, which I don't. And ADHD people typically get injured a lot, like a lot. It's not because we're dumb. It's like our bodies move faster than we realize. So anyway, the bottom line is, it ultimately gave me more awareness. And this video is really all over the place, but I want to share, because I have a feeling there's going to come a time where I'm, doing something and people are like, oh, it must be so easy for you, like, oh, it must be, you must not have ADHD because look how much you get done. It's like, no, you need to see behind the curtain, and you need to see that this is really hard. And I will say this, everybody's different. I understand that. But for me, the key has been the streaks, because especially sleep, if you're not vigilant about your sleep, doing what you can to get sleep every night, it's like a domino that just slams everything down. And it's one thing if you have so much kind of room for error in your life that it's not that big a deal. But if you're like, I want to get more stuff done, but I just can't, like, I don't know why, but I could, you don't even realize what you're doing, and that's why the journaling is truly not only saving my life, but creating my life, because I'm able to say, when the intrusive thoughts, like, you're not doing anything, I can literally look and be like, well, that's not true. So where did that come from? Oh, of course, I know where that came from. And then but let's say I'm feeling frozen, which happens a lot. I can look and say, well, what was the next step of my routine? Like, what am I doing? And that's why you always timestamp it. So let's say it's like, well, like right now it's 12:17 p.m. here. And let's say, forget what I'm doing or whatever. I can look back, and even if it's like, oh my gosh, you wasted the whole day. No, you didn't. It's been 5 minutes. I'm telling you, the two tools, and I live by myself with my daughter. I'm having to be the one to do everything, like mentally, for both of us, because I refuse to live a life that's dictated by stuff. But it's also like, this is one of my interests, is optimizing, as I think I've said. And it's just helping me see why I get stalled sometimes. And I think people mean well, but when you really are built differently, you need to find the tools that truly work for you. And I have found that part of why I got derailed in the past is trying to follow things that aren't built for me. They're just not built for me. So is it that can I possibly do them? Possibly. But it's disproportionately taking more from me than it needs to. And so one of the things I've suggested to people, just like casually and stuff, is to create categories, because ADHD brain likes variety, right? We don't want to be boxed in. But you can create categories, and then you can create variety within those categories. So let's say the category is movement every day, but you can create different ways to move. And that way you're never feeling that like you're holding me down, you're holding me back, you're restraining my creativity, but you're also not sacrificing, a category that is good for you, that you do know is good for you, So for example, for the sleeping thing, I know this is really long, but this is what I'm currently feeling. The sleeping thing, I created a stimulation bridge for myself. So the TV still turns off at 9, but then something else turns on to carry me from downstairs to upstairs getting ready. And the rule is I can't get into bed until everything's off. So just so you know, that's where I am with that. But I love you guys. Remember, you are the sky. You were here yesterday. You're here today, and you will be here tomorrow. And you deserve to be here every single day, even when you feel scattered, to say the least. Even when you're struggling, you deserve to be here. And that's why I keep showing up, because I show up for my daughter every single day. So now I'm actually starting to show up for myself. And that might mean, okay, there's a messy table today. And yes, it makes it harder on me. But I'm not going to let that stop me. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if your goal was to do A, do whatever A is, if it's good for you. And you ultimately are going to feel better once you do that. And as I keep saying, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. And I had a battle this morning, and it won't even make sense to a lot of people, and that's fine. But that was my experience. But I did do it, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm grateful for that. And I want to share that, because if it can help even one person who's just feeling whatever they're feeling. 2 of my mottos now are inch by inch and one choice at a time. For some reason, that lands better than one step at a time. I think it's because, what if I can't do the second step? But you can make a choice. You can do, within those steps, you can make choices, if that makes sense. So if you're struggling to concentrate, but you need to do the step, you can drink water. That could possibly help. You could jump up and do some jumping jacks. That could possibly help. Like those kind of things. Yeah, I like that. That's really good. So one choice at a time and inch by inch. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great day.